My name is Maggie Stahl, and I am the owner and curator of this small business, Burke Mercantile. I've been in the retail fashion industry for about 10 years, and I spent a lot of that time actually in the fast fashion corporate industry. And kind of the older I get and the more I learned about the industry and a lot of the harms done through fast fashion companies and corporations, I started to kind of research and look into smaller, more sustainable brands, and decided with my experience that I had an opportunity to start a business to kind of share that message and education and create a space that could support those brands. Having a very small shop here and being a really small business, I can't always be taking on more brands. And so I wanted to develop a way to still be able to support and feature a rotating list of new brands all the time. And by doing that, the residency program was born. So essentially it's a quarterly pop-up program where I feature one emerging clothing brand and one fine artist, and display their work for 3 months at a time. And then I also do a full interview with them on my blog, share it with my email subscribers, and kind of tell the story of that brand or artist, and then allow them to showcase their collection in the store for 3 months for sale. The Green Business Certification has really helped me. Even though it was a relatively easy process, it's sort of set guidelines for everything else. So it's like if I'm doing these simple things to make sure even my printer paper is recycled, then it makes me think twice about everything else that I buy for the business, from the products I carry to supplies and things that I use every day. Depending on your type of business, there's a lot of different requirements and optional things you can implement in your business to be certified. So for a retail business, a lot of it has to do with energy efficiency in my space, so really reducing water use and electricity use, and then also with supplies that I buy and use for the store. So for instance, all of my paper products I buy are between 50 to 100% recycled paper products, which also makes them recyclable once they get to the end user. I think particularly with the product I sell, it requires a lot of effort on my end to educate my customer. It does take a little more time to educate the customer on the value of these items and why they actually provide more value and can be cheaper in the long run, because it's an item that's going to last a lot longer and serve you for longer than something that's less expensive up front. It's definitely easy as a small business owner to compare yourself to other businesses and always feel like you're not doing enough, and especially in the sustainability world. You know, the most sustainable thing to do is to just never buy anything again. And those kind of things, you can really spiral and it feels like you're never doing enough. But what I have learned, and especially through some of my other small business neighbors that are similarly value-minded to me, is strive for progress, not perfection. And you know, if businesses like mine and some of my neighbors weren't here to provide some better alternatives and products that people are going to buy regardless, then the only thing people would have as options are, you know, less sustainable things to purchase. So it can get difficult, but I think it's always good to do a little bit of what you can rather than striving to be absolutely perfect in everything. So it's been really important for me to always give back in some sense, because small businesses really can be the heart of a community, and so much of the locals' time is spent in our spaces and getting to know us. And so it's kind of my way to thank them and give back to my community for supporting me and helping me be here too.
I love that Maggie of Burke Mercantile carries all kinds of sustainable, independent fashion designers. So I know that when I buy something from her, I'm buying something from a small business.
Day in and day out, I was seeing so much waste happening just in the daily operations, and I was just in one store of that entire corporation that has hundreds of stores. And trying really hard to make an impact there, even just from one store, I really had like no say. So for me, I felt comfortable enough in the industry that I could run my own business and do things differently. And so I decided to step away from a little bit more of a cushy environment and try to do better, just better in the industry. I think buying locally is so important. Sustainability means to me, I think, doing whatever we can to make small changes to do better for the environment and for humans on the planet. We live in a very capitalistic society, so it's a lot of the responsibility, I believe, is in the hands of large corporations that can really make the widespread changes that we need. But until that happens, there are still individual actions people can take to make a difference. There are so many different things you can do to make an impact, and I think it's important for people to remember that even just one change is impactful. Even if it feels like you're not doing enough, it is something. And so that's really what sustainability means to me.